Senator Elizabeth Warren has been touting her Medicare-for-All plan on the campaign trail, but still has not said, crucially, how she would pay for it. Now her Democratic rivals are starting to call her out for that, as they did during the debate. Colorado Senator Michael Bennet says it is a joke to claim that the middle class will not pay higher taxes as a result of Warren's plan.
I don't need a plan for plan because my plan is Medicare X and it's paid for without raising taxes on the middle class. And when she studies it, she's going to find that it's impossible to fund what she's talking about without taxing the middle class and even lower. I mean, Bernie brings the taxes down to $29,000, and that only pays for half of it, by the way. That's $16 trillion. So this is a little bit of a joke, I have to say.
Senator Bennet joins me now. Senator, to your point, Senator Warren was given multiple opportunities to answer that very question, who will pay for it. She refused those opportunities. I wonder, is she misleading voters by refusing to say what the real costs are and who will cover those costs?
I've been saying that for months, that everybody except Bernie is lying about Bernie's plan. Bernie wrote Medicare for All. Bernie has said that it will cost $31 trillion. He's come up with 16 of that $31 trillion. That's half. And he does that by taxing people that are making less than $30,000 a year. But at least he's being honest about his plan. Others that have signed on have said sort of magically this will all take care of itself. Just to give you a sense of a frame of reference here.
So to be clear, though, are you saying Senator Warren is not being honest about her plan?
I think she's not being honest about her plan. And I think her plan, which costs $33 trillion, is the equivalent of 70% of all the taxes that the federal government will collect over the next 10 years. I mean, it is a massive increase in taxes to this country, and it hasn't been explained to the American people. It's a soundbite. And more than that, it's not based on common sense. You know, my plan just finishes the job we started on the Affordable Care Act by creating a public option. It actually it benefits the federal treasury rather than draining anything from it, and it doesn't raise taxes on anybody. And we can get to universal health care coverage in three years. I think it may not be as good a soundbite as Medicare for All, but I think it's much better policy.
Let me ask you this. There was a profile of you in Politico, as you know, and there was a line that stuck out to me. I just want to quote it here. It said, whether over immigration or gun control or climate change, Bennet can be found in the deal-making trenches, laboring to build a bipartisan coalition in pursuit of a workable outcome rather than lobbing bombs from the safety of an ideological bunker. I wonder, when you look at something like Warren's plan, makes a lot of headlines, gets lots of folks on the left end of the progressive movement excited, but doesn't necessarily, as you say, get to all the details. Today, is it possible to win the nomination, whether Democrat or Republican, outside of that ideological bunker?
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so, because I think that's where the American people really are. Look, Elizabeth has said on the debate stage that now is the time to think big. I agree it is a time to think big, but my ambitions are different than hers. You know, I want to reduce childhood poverty by 40% in this country. We can do that in a year for 3% of the cost of Medicare for All. I want to cover everybody with universal health care coverage with a public option, and I want a climate plan that actually engages our farmers and ranchers in that work so we have a durable result. We have different ambitions. One is not smaller than the other. I think what's important is for us to figure out in this campaign how to be able to get some oxygen for ideas that are different than the ones that actually circle the earth on Twitter really quickly, but maybe by the time they land don't make any sense to actual living, breathing humans in America, as opposed to just what's happening on the internet. And that's what I'm trying to do in this campaign.
So assuming, though, that bunker, the ideological bunker, does supply the Democratic nominee, that these pie-in-the-sky, perhaps unrealistic promises without explanation of the costs wins the nomination because it excites people, makes them feel like they're going to get something, possibly get something for nothing. If that happens for the Democratic Party, is Trump likely to be reelected?
Well, first of all, something for nothing is just an empty promise. We've had enough of those out of Washington, D.C., and I think we've had enough of those from the coastal elites who come up with these ideas that don't make sense in the middle of America. It makes it more likely that he gets reelected. I hope he'll be beaten by whoever the Democratic nominee is, but I can tell you this, there's a reason why 39 out of 40 Democrats who ran for the House of Representatives in the last election and won, swinging the majority to the Democrats, 39 of 40 ran on a public option like mine. They didn't run on Medicare for All, and a lot of them beat people in the primaries who did run on Medicare for All. So if it seems to me